Good morning, everyone. Cooking today in our PJs. We are actually going to make dinner today, or should I say this morning, and we are actually going to cook it in our Crockpot. Very frugal. It only requires a minimum of 1, 2, 3 ingredients, and then 4 would be your pork chops. So just 4 ingredients and you can have dinner ready in the Crockpot in less than 4 to 6 hours. So let's get started. What we're going to need is 1 box of stuffing. Chicken stuffing, turkey stuffing, doesn't matter. You want 1 box. You want 1 can of cream of anything. So cream of mushroom, cream of celery, cream of onion, all but don't put in cream of potato. I don't think that would taste very good. But cream of mushroom is what we're using today. You need also chicken broth. Now, if you want a real creamy type of stuffing, really super moist, you will need 2 cups of chicken broth. I like mine a little soft, but a little on the dry side. So I'm only going to use 1.5 cups. I got right here 1 cup, but I'm going to be using, fill it back up, put 1/2 cup in there, use it in our stuffing. So what we need to do is put your stuffing in a bowl. You're going to take your chicken broth, and what you want to do is pour it over your stuffing. That's 1 cup. Go ahead and add the 1/2 cup in there. And what you're doing is actually you're going to let that soak some while you prepare the rest of your ingredients. And you want that chicken broth basically to soak into your stuffing. It's going to add flavor. And instead of using water, that's 1/2 cup, you will be really surprised by how much flavor just using chicken broth is. A good tip is you, instead of, if you're going to want to use rice, instead of water, you can use chicken broth. Turns out very, very flavorful. And actually, it's one of my mother's favorite ways to eat rice. She loves if I fix her rice and use the chicken broth instead of water. So once you have this already set, your broth and everything is soaking into the stuffing, you want to put that aside. And you want to gather your pork chops. So I have my pork chops right here. And you're just going to layer that onto your crock pot. You may use boneless. You may use bone-in. That takes a little longer, so I would probably say about 6 hours for that. But any kind of pork chops will do. You want to layer those into your crock pot. And I'm sorry I have the computer at an angle. It's kind of hard for you to see inside the crock pot, but there's no magic to it. Just take your pork chop, bam, lay it in there. Now my family's kind of small, so I've only got like 4 pork chops in here, but you want at least 1 pound. 1 pound, 1.5 pounds. This here that I used was exactly 1 pound. Next, you're going to take that cream of mushroom soup, and you're just going to pour it over your pork chops. What you're going to do is after you pour your can over the pork chops, you're then going to spread it out, kind of like you're icing a cake. So let's get this all done here. And again, I'm sorry, I'm going to apologize ahead of time if you hear any growling or something in the background. I do have 2 huskies, and our Tundra boy, Tundra Lee, he is our rescue, and he loves to talk. So sometimes you might hear him talking in the background. Our girl, Ginger Lynn, she's a real quiet girl. She only talks when she has something to say. Or if she wants something. She could be quite demanding. All right, so I got my cream of mushroom out. I'm going to spread it, like I said, like you're icing a cake. I'm going to spread that all over your pork chops. You want it nice and coated there. And what this is going to do is tenderize some of that meat while it's cooking, along with the steam that you have from the slow cooker. Alrighty, that looks pretty good there. Now we're going to take that stuffing that we had where we're soaking with the Crockpot, or I'm sorry, Crockpot, soaking in the chicken broth, and we're going to give it a stir. Okay, make sure it's thoroughly wet. And like I said, if you want real super moist stuffing, use 2 cups of chicken broth. If you don't, and you like yours kind of moist but a little dry, use 1.5 cups. After this, after it's all nice and stirred, you're going to just pour it right over the pork chops and cream of mushroom soup that you have. And yes, we are cooking in our pajamas today. No need to get fancy here. We're all friends. I love cooking budget-friendly meals. It stretches our budget so we can actually do fun things. We like to go out and have a nightlife, and this is an easy way to do it. Save back, have nice family dinners that are not sacrificing taste. Delicious meals. Just go ahead and spread that a little bit around on top of your chicken and stuffing there. And I'm using my casserole crock pot. Now you can use any kind of crock pot as long as it's at least a 4-quart casserole crock pot. You don't want anything less because it will add in some water and you will have a mess all over your kitchen. So you don't want to do that. So you use at least a casserole crock pot or at least a 4-quart casserole crock pot. You can layer the pork chops on top of each other. That doesn't matter. That's still going to cook the same. It's all going to be together. Not going to be a problem. Remember that bone-in pork chops are going to take about 6 hours. Boneless or thinner pork chops are going to take about 4 hours. You want to put it on low. So make sure you have your crock pot on low. Going ahead and attach my crock pot casserole lid here. And tilt it a little bit there so you can see. That's how it looks. And that is all to it. Cooking in your pajamas, dinner time, ready to go. 4 hours for me since I'm using thinner pork chops. Make sure you have at least 1 pound, 4 ingredients. Make sure that your stuffing is to your preference. So it's either going to be 2 cups for super moist, 1.5 cups for like moist to dry. All right. Well, thank you guys for joining me for cooking in your pajamas, dinner, that is. And I'm sorry I don't have a finished product to show you, but if you follow me on Facebook, I'll go ahead and post a dinner later tonight, a picture of the finished product. So thank you again. Have a great morning.